Hello, welcome to Movie Castle. I am your host Cooper. Today I have a sort of low effort tier list video, another one for you guys. We're kind of just waiting to get our Wuthering Heights episode done. I don't know what other movies we're going to talk about in that episode, but in the meantime, I have this quick little video to tide you guys over. I have the 10 most recent films that have won the Best Animated category at the Oscars. I'm just going to rank them from worst to best and let you guys know kind of what I think of them. I'll talk a little bit about some of the other movies that got nominated the same year that those movies did, and whether or not I think they've held up as a winner, and whether or not I would choose them. I think this will be kind of an interesting exercise because I don't really have a big relationship to a lot of these movies. I kind of, not to sound like a pretentious asshole, but I kind of aged out of them around the time that Inside Out came out. So I was like, when I was entering middle school, I just didn't really care about this sort of thing. So a lot of them I've seen all these, but I just like my relationship with them is very limited, with a few exceptions. So we'll sort of get into this. I might have some like hot takes or something, just because we'll see if I care about the ones that everyone else seems to care about. So we'll just get started. So this movie came out in 2015. It's called Inside Out, and it won the 2016 Best Animated Feature. It was nominated alongside a Charlie Kaufman film called Anomalisa, Boy in the World, Shaun the Sheep, and When Marnie Was There, which is a Studio Ghibli film. This is an okay winner. I'm going to put it in the middle for now. I've gone back and forth on this movie over the years of really loving it and then finding it kind of annoying, and then coming back around to it kind of being a breath of fresh air for Pixar. Like in the grand scheme of things, this is kind of right before the era of them really relying on sequels, which we'll get to. We'll get to some sequels soon, which they've always had sequels, but this is, I don't know, just felt like such an original thing at its time, and it is now also a victim of having a sequel. I don't know. Inside Out's all right. It's fun, but it's not something that I would ever choose to go to first. I imagine, though, that if you were the right age for this at the right time, this probably means a lot to you. And I feel like this probably did mean a lot to me when it came out, but it just hasn't really stayed with me too much. In terms of some of the other nominees, Anomalisa would be a crazy win because that's like a puppet movie, stop motion puppet movie with like a lot of sex in it. I like that movie though. When Marnie Was There is an okay Ghibli movie. Shaun the Sheep's a fun movie. This is probably the best pick. It's the safest pick. I personally prefer the like puppet animation and the stop motion animation over this, so that's kind of what I would gravitate towards. But Inside Out's a fine win, and it makes sense in the grand scheme of things. Next, we got the 2016-2017 winner, which is the film Zootopia, which I think I like a little more than Inside Out. I've only seen it once, and it was around the time that it came out. I think I like the sequel a little more, but that's probably just because it's a little more fresh on the mind. This movie was nominated alongside Kubo and the Two Strings, which is a very gorgeous movie. It doesn't have a great script, but is very, like, in terms of its animation, feels very special. Moana, which is a fine kids movie. I think Zootopia is better. My Life is a Zucchini, which I haven't seen, and then Red Turtle, which I also haven't seen. It's a solid kids movie, and I think I would pick it over Inside Out most days of the week. We'll have that here for now. These can move. I'm okay with moving some of these around. Coco. Now, this is probably a hot take, but I'm going to put this in the 7 to 8 category. This is an example of a movie that I have, like, zero relationship to. I didn't see it when it came out, and I saw it for the first time a few years ago. It didn't really do a whole lot for me. I get this movie really mixed up with The Book of Life. I don't really know why. I just... Are they similar? Like, do they have similar plots? I'm not sure. I think they're both dealing with Day of the Dead stuff, right? Dios de Muertos? Am I right? I don't know. I haven't seen that movie in a long time either. But Coco looks pretty. Just not something that I really cared for when I saw it. Nothing wrong with it, though. It was nominated alongside Boss Baby, Breadwinner, Ferdinand, and Loving Vincent. I think I've only seen Loving Vincent out of this year, which is a fine movie, but I wouldn't pick it over Coco. I don't think. That's the one that's like Van Gogh, and it's like Van Gogh paintings, and it's Saoirse Ronan's in it, and it's like various art styles. It's cool. It's cool. It's imaginative, but it's not gonna win this category. So Coco's a fine win though. I think compared to the rest of these, it's just not one that I'm super attached to or anything. All right, we'll move on to the 2018 movie that came out that then won in 2019, which is Into the Spider-Verse, and I'm comfortable putting this one at the top. I do have a relationship with this one as like a comic book fan. yeah, I think this is like an incredibly imaginative movie. It's the first non-Disney movie on the list, which is I think noteworthy because we're going to get a lot of non-Disney movies towards the end of the list. It's become something that's just been copied now a lot in terms of its like style, and everybody's got their own take on it with like the Ninja Turtles and the Mitchells versus the Machines and things like that. And so, and it's also kind of like the first multiverse movie that we got, which Marvel wasn't doing quite yet, but feels like it's just ahead of the curve in a lot of ways. And it's got a great story, and it's, as a comic book fan, it's like a celebration of a lot of the things I love. And I did see this when it came out, and I do have a relationship to it. So it's going to go up here at the top for now. I don't know if I could see it going down. Probably not. I don't know if it's my favorite movie here. We'll see. So some other movies that were nominated that year were Incredibles 2, which is a movie I like a lot. Isle of Dogs, which is another movie I'm a fan of. Ralph Breaks the Internet, which I don't care for. And Miari, which I haven't seen. And I think if I had to pick another one here, it'd be Isle of Dogs, which again, I'm just a sucker for stop motion, so I'm always going to be rooting for that. But I don't think it's better than Spider-Verse. I think Spider-Verse is the best pick here. All right, let's move on to the 2019 movie that then won in 2020, which is Toy Story 4, which is a movie that I think is perfectly fine. Hasn't really stuck with me too much. I think I've seen it twice. I've always said that it's a fine movie, but it's just like not necessary. The trilogy is perfect as is. We didn't need a fourth one, but there's nothing wrong with this movie. It's odd to me that they're making another one. I mean, it's not odd because these are billion-dollar movies, but we don't need more of these. But again, 2019 is a really interesting year for best animated films because it's Toy Story 4 and then How to Train Your Dragon 3, I Lost My Body, Claws, and then The Missing Link. We give a lot of hype to 2019, film fans do, as being like one of the great years of the 2010s. But this animation category is like not great, and I don't think a lot of these movies have stayed with people outside of maybe Toy Story 4 and How to Train Your Dragon. I don't ever hear people talk about I Lost My Body or Claws or Missing Link or anything like that. So it is kind of interesting to look at this year compared to broader movie culture. Again, but back to Toy Story 4, just, yeah, it's fine where it is. Again, just nothing, not a huge relationship to it. It's fine. Soul. Now, Soul, I love Soul. Soul could be up here at the top, or maybe up here. I don't know. I'm going to put it here for now. It has a lot of what I want out of a kid's movie, where it's like challenging in ways that can like help a child's mind like learn about the world, you know? It feels very smart. I love it as a celebration of jazz. This was at a point in my life where I was playing a lot of jazz music, and I don't know, I connect with its story and how it looks at life and death, and I think it's very smart about how it approaches that, and has become kind of underrated in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty original, and that's awesome to see. Some other movies that were nominated this year were Onward, which is another Pixar movie, which is fine, and then Over the Moon, which I haven't seen, Shaun of the Sheep Farmageddon, which is cool, and then Wolfwalkers. I don't know if this has like the best animation out of the ones I just listed, but I really like its story a lot, so I'm fine with this as a win, and it's one of my favorites here, so it's gonna stay up here at the top for now. Okay, next up we got Encanto, which I am gonna put down here for now. Encanto is fine. I think it's like it's a perfectly serviceable kids movie. I kind of have a weird story with it. So I've only seen Encanto once. I took a Spanish class my sophomore year of college, and it was pretty early in the morning. It was like the earliest a college class could be where I went to school, and we watched it in Spanish. And so when I saw it, my brain was super groggy, and I couldn't really understand what they were saying because I'm not very good at other languages. And so like I was able to follow along and have like an idea of everything that happened in this movie, but my grasp on it is not 100% just because like I woke up, went straight to see this movie, and then didn't really understand what they were saying the entire time. So it seems like a fine kids movie though. I apologize to all the fans of this movie that like ride or die for Encanto, but it's just not one that I have any relationship to outside of the fever dream that was sophomore year Spanish class. So it's going to be at the bottom, I think, for now. Probably my least favorite thing here, just because my memory of it is just completely kind of wiped. Some other movies that came out this year that were nominated were Flea, which is cool, Luca, which I like more and I think should have won, Mitchell versus the Machines and Raya and the Last Dragon. Haven't seen a lot of those, but I really liked Luca, so that's the one that I would pick. All right, next up we got the 2022 movie that then won in 2023, which is Pinocchio, which I think I'll put above Zootopia. Again, as a fan of stop motion, it's cool to see something like this win. None of these other movies are stop motion, so this immediately gives it sort of ahead of the rest of these. Some other movies that came out this year: Marcel the Shell, which I think would have picked over this. That's a movie I like a little bit more. I think it's a little more charming and fun. And again, is also stop motion, or partly live action, partly stop motion. Puss in Boots, which is great. I like that one a lot. But I don't think I'd pick it over these other, over Pinocchio and Marcel. Sea Beast, which is like fine, and then Turning Red, which is an okay Pixar movie. Not one of my favorites. But yeah, I really dig this. I own it on Criterion. I would like to rewatch it at some point. Just a cool take on the Pinocchio story, and it's much better than the Zemeckis one that also came out that year. So, kudos. All right, next up we got the 2024 winner that came out in 2023, which is Boy and the Heron, which I think I'll put right here, and we're gonna move Toy Story 4 down. I'll move Zootopia right here. Okay, so Boy and the Heron is the most recent Ghibli film, I believe. The latest from Miyazaki. Probably his last movie. They say that, but he always makes another. This one, though, I feel good about being his last movie. I think at the time, I wanted Across the Spider-Verse to win, but I think looking back now, it's okay that this won. Because, like, Into the Spider-Verse just won recently, and, like, I don't know when the next time a Ghibli movie is going to win. And I don't know that, I don't think Miyazaki's going to ever get another Oscar. So I think it's fine that this won and is a good choice. It's just not my favorite movie of the category. Some other movies that came out: Elemental, Nimona, Robot Dreams, and Spider-Verse. And again, I would pick Spider-Verse, but this is a fine movie. I like it. I haven't really ever had the desire to revisit it or anything, but it's pretty cool. Next, we got Flow, which is our last one, and I love Flow. I actually think it's going to be right here. We're going to scoot everything down. I think Toy Story 4 is going to go at the bottom, though. Okay. Yeah, that looks good to me. So Flow is my number 2 pick of these movies. I love Flow. Own it on Criterion as well. Very cool movie. I've been rooting it for it since it came out, and it's cool to see it have the cult following that it has now. Some other movies that came out this year: Inside Out 2, Memoirs of a Snail, and Wallace and Gromit, and Wild Robot. The other choice would have obviously been Wild Robot, but it's a pretty good year for animation, all things considered. But Flow is just like one of the great independent film stories ever, of it just being like a small crew from a foreign country that made this like small movie of these animals, and there's no dialogue or anything, and I just think it's a very special movie, and I love the way that it makes me feel, which is I think why we watch movies and why we like animation, right? The way that it makes us feel. So that's my list. Let me know how wrong I am for putting some of these beloved Pixar movies towards the bottom of my list. It's really interesting to see kind of Pixar hasn't won in a couple of years. They'll probably win this year for Zootopia 2. But yeah, hope you enjoyed listening to me ramble about this. Again, just kind of a quick little video to put out before our Wuthering Heights episode. Feel free to listen to us on Spotify. That's where most of our content is. And, or you can subscribe to us here on YouTube. So yeah, thanks for stopping by. Hope you have a good rest of your day.